Hello MotoGP enthusiasts, welcome back to ZNGP today. On Andrea Migno's podcast, former world champion Jorge Lorenzo laid bare his memories of MotoGP's Fantastic Five era, including his storied rivalry with Rossi and insights on rivals Stoner, Pedrosa, and Marquez. Of all, it was Marquez's fearless nature, both his greatest asset and latent vulnerability, that earned Lorenzo's highest praise. While Ducati continues to amass points, leading the Constructors' standings by 243 over Aprilia, the rest of the grid is fighting firefights of its own. Yamaha sits winless for 62 Grands Prix, its worst drought ever, and KTM has gone 55 races without tasting victory. Here's how these two storied Marques fell into their funks, what it means for their star riders, and how Dorna is trying to help them claw back into contention. With the unveiling of the 2026 MotoGP schedule, Dorna's sporting chief Carlos Ezpeleta hailed a 22-round campaign, highlighted by Brazil's return, as one of the better calendars in recent memory. Here's a breakdown of the key changes, rider-friendly tweaks, and why this could be the most fan- and competitor-friendly season yet. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Lorenzo reminisced about the fierce intra-team battles with Valentino Rossi, where pride and identical machinery meant only one could claim supremacy. When we were riders, there was total tension. We were both super competitive guys. Neither of us backed off, so it was difficult. Same bike, same team, whoever beat the other was the best. Jorge Lorenzo's statement. Their rivalry peaked during their Ducati years, but distance softened the rivalry, evolving into a cordial respect once retirement removed the stakes. On Danny Pedrosa, Lorenzo highlighted the Spaniard's sublime throttle control but noted braking, as his physical disadvantage was his Achilles heel. Pedrosa was very sensitive and clean, doing what he did at 50 kilos is crazy. But he was very weak under braking due to his physical condition. Pedrosa's blend of lightweight finesse and Honda's power made him formidable. Yet Lorenzo stresses that raw stopping power often decided their duels. Casey Stoner's gift was instinct, mastering a treacherous track without practice, Lorenzo recalled, leaving competitors in his wake. Stoner drove with great instinct, even more talent for immediately understanding the limits of the track. It was incredible. While others relied on telemetry, Stoner's almost preternatural edge let him conquer changeable conditions with race day brilliance alone. Lorenzo reserved his most nuanced praise for Márquez, acknowledging that the champion's greatest power springs from the very trait that sometimes betrays him: fearlessness. His weak point is exactly what made him so strong. He's fearless. He's made mistakes in the past, and that takes something away from him. If nothing major misfortune happens, he'll win this world championship. Marquez's unflinching approach fuels record-breaking wins, yet Lorenzo notes that every high-risk moment carries the price of potential error. Reflecting on that golden era, Rossi, Stoner, Lorenzo, Pedrosa, and Marquez, Lorenzo emphasized the era's drama and spectacle as MotoGP's zenith. Those years were intense tension and competitiveness, but always with the spectacle at the forefront. The collective brilliance and contrasting styles of the five riders defined MotoGP's modern peak, each pushing the others to new limits. Jorge Lorenzo's podcast Revelations paint a vivid portrait of MotoGP's top talents, from Rossi's shared pride, Pedrosa's delicate mastery, and Stoner's raw instinct, to Marquez's fearless prowess, his very weakness forging his dominance. As the championship unfolds, Lorenzo's insights remind us why that Fantastic Five era remains unforgettable. The once dominant Japanese factory has now endured a 62 GP stretch without a win, a slump stretching back years, and one that's increasingly hard to ignore. I can't be competitive on my bike over more than one lap. Fabio Quartararo's statement. He admitted, underlining the challenge of converting strong qualifying runs into race victories. Pole positions and flashes of pace, for this season, have failed to translate into wins. Quartararo's lone podium at Jerez feels like a high point in a season of recurring frustrations. Despite grabbing 4 pole positions, Quartararo's Yamaha lacks the race day consistency to challenge Ducati, often fading as tire performance drops. "I feel completely unable to fight for the top positions," he confessed after the Czech GP, echoing a team-wide sense of underachievement. The gap between one-lap speed and race-long stability exposes deep chassis and power delivery issues that Yamaha must urgently solve. The Austrian Marque, battling an internal financial squeeze, has now gone 55 races since its last MotoGP victory, closing in on its worst drought of 60 GPs, 2016 to 2020. The economic downturn has diverted resources away from development, leaving the RC16 unable to match Ducati's firepower. Despite glimpses of form from Pedro Acosta and Maverick Vinales, KTM's package still falls short in top speed and braking zones, key areas Ducati exploits mercilessly. Wins aren't the only metric. Both brands struggle even for top 3 finishes. Yamaha's last podium was Quartararo's Jerez result. Honda trails with 5 GPs dry, while KTM found relief with Acosta's Czech podium. Without consistent podium appearances, sponsorship and team morale sag, turning every dry weekend into a critical hit to internal confidence. Star riders feel the heat. Quartararo's season-long drought chips away at his title credibility. Acosta and Vinales at KTM face the frustration of promising talent stymied by machinery. MotoGP's unforgiving environment means that even proven champions must deliver, or risk losing seats as development horses shift to faster barns. In response, Dorna has opened additional private test days and expanded parts allocation, hoping to fast-track development and shorten Yamaha's and KTM's learning curves. Extra track time and new component trials aim to help these factories close the chasm to Ducati and Aprilia. While Dorna's interventions provide breathing room, real progress depends on clever engineering and rapid iteration. No easy feat mid-season. Yamaha and KTM face their sternest tests in years: record winless runs, podium deserts, and mounting pressure on riders. Dorna's lifelines may offer temporary relief, but the onus is on each factory to deliver performance breakthroughs. With Ducati's juggernaut rolling on, the question is simple: will Yamaha and KTM find their next victory before the season slips irretrievably away? The biggest shakeup is the inclusion of the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Ayrton Senna circuit, its first MotoGP event since 2004, slotted in as round 2. The biggest news is, of course, Brazil. It's a big market for the sport and one where we feel we have a lot of potential. Carlos Ezpeleta's statement. Swapping Tomás de Rio Hondo for Brazil injects fresh excitement early in the year, while tapping into a passionate South American fanbase. The campaign kicks off in Thailand once more, capitalizing on the success of this year's rapid turnaround, and closes under the lights at Valencia in late November. We'll start in Thailand again, which was hugely successful this year, even if they only had 4 months between events. A familiar opener provides continuity, while Valencia's curtain call remains a fitting finale after 22 epic rounds. Notable shifts include new dates for the Catalan, British, Silverstone, and Austrian Grands Prix, and crucially, no triple headers for the second consecutive year. No triple headers next year again, and that is something that will be well received. Riders and teams benefit from a gentler rhythm, avoiding the grueling 3-week sprint that had become a hallmark and headache of recent seasons. A priority this time around was breathing room. 2026 boasts a nearly month-long summer hiatus between the German and British rounds. One of the things we've spoken to the riders about, also having a decent summer break. It's not possible every year, but I think we've been able to accomplish that for 2026. Extended downtime offers riders a chance to recharge, and gives teams much-needed development breathing space before the season's final push. While preserving core venues like Thailand and Valencia, the reshuffled dates and fresh Brazilian slot reflect Dorna's strategy of blending heritage with growth markets. We think it's one of the better calendars that we've done in the last years. I hope the MotoGP family will receive it well. By mixing established fan favorites with new horizons, 2026 aims to maintain momentum while broadening MotoGP's global footprint. Carlos Ezpeleta's 2026 blueprint delivers a rider-friendly, fan-focused calendar, adding Brazil's heart-pumping return, ditching punishing triple headers, and preserving a well-earned summer break. If the paddock's early reaction is any indicator, this schedule could set a new standard for balanced, thrilling MotoGP seasons. Thanks for watching ZNGP today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!